Welcome to the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr. I am a transformational mindset and business coach and six-figure award-winning female entrepreneur. Ladies, I'm here to tell you that business and making money doesn't have to be hard when you're in alignment and flow. Inside this podcast, I will be showing you how to transform your mindset to program it for success, how to maximize your money vibrations, and how to redesign your business for ultimate financial and time freedom. You know you are meant to live an epic life. Now it's time to claim it. Hi ladies, welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I'm super excited to be here with you today. I'm recording an episode that actually wasn't on my plan, but it was something that came up today in a one-to-one coaching session that I thought was really important and something that should absolutely be shared with my audience and obviously you incredible ladies that listen to my podcast. And so basically what we were talking about was one of the things that I do with a new client is really go through every aspect of their business. So with fresh pair of eyes. So we look at every different aspect, every different revenue stream, every different social media channel, because I know when people come to me typically to work with me as a one-to-one client, it's because they know that what has got them to this point is not going to get them to their next level of success, whether that be a monetary goal or whether that be more time freedom or more alignment or more joy or any of those things. They're not going to get that from doing what they've been doing already. So that's why they come to work with me, because they want that fresh energy and fresh eyes on their business. So typically what we'll do is sit down, and this is something that I did today with a brand new one-to-one client, which is, I'm just so excited about her business that I can't even tell you. I only work with a handful of private clients on a one-to-one basis for that reason, that I only work with the ones that I am so bloody excited about, that I can't wait to dive in and to really like amplify whatever they've done, like make it bigger, bolder, better, more profitable, like basically all the things. She's got a really exciting business, but equally she's got lots of different elements to it. So we all know it takes 7 different revenue streams typically to become a millionaire. So unless you really go all in on one thing and do it really, really well. But what I tend to find as a coach is that I tend to attract a lot of women like me that are multi-passionate. I'm obviously, if anybody knows their human design, I'm going to do a whole episode on this shortly, but I am a manifestor generator. So I'm somebody that really does get lit up, and my energy is recharged from having multiple projects, and I have lots of different interests, and each one just, really gets me excited. So I tend to attract a lot of women that are the same and have lots of different elements to their business. So I spoke with her today. We had a look at all the different bits, and something that came up was where she started her journey. That business is still very much making money and on paper makes commercial sense to continue with. So, and that's kind of, she'd worked with a coach previously, and that's what they said: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But actually, when I was kind of diving deeper into, okay, well, what has got you to this point is, has got you to this point, thanks very much. But when we look at the future and doing this for another 10 years, how does that feel for you? And actually, the reality is she didn't want it. She didn't want to be involved in that in one particular element of her business anymore, because it's like she'd outgrown it. And let me tell you, this is something that I've also had to deal with. But if you think it's hard, if you think it's easy walking away from something when it's not working, actually, no, it's around the other way, isn't it? If you think it's hard walking away from something when it is not working and admitting defeat, let me tell you, it is even harder to walk away from something when on paper it actually is a success. And this is something that I faced in my own business journey. Obviously, before I was a coach, and also parallel to my coaching, I was an entrepreneur. So I've had business interests that I started my journey with. So obviously, for anybody that knows me particularly well, I started off with a barbershop. That was my first business and my first venture into entrepreneurship. And it was a huge commitment, time, it was 7 days a week business. I had at my peak, I think I had like 8 different barbers on payroll. So you can imagine it's very unlikely. We were actually the biggest barbershop in Kingston upon Thames, which is where it was based. And it's actually very rare to get an 8-seat barbershop. Like, that's unheard of outside of like central London or massive chains. So to be somewhere as a completely independent retailer where I had put all of my money into it and all of my blood, sweat, tears, time away from the kids, time with the kids, because I used to take them with me. Literally my whole soul was in that business for so long. I then obviously expanded into other different retail businesses. So I had a ladies' hair salon, a tattoo studio, ladies' beauty salon, and then I had online businesses. So men's grooming products, Amazon business, like property business, basically like all the things. But what happened was I got to a point where I had just completely had enough of my original business. It's like I'd outgrown it. Definitely, I was ready for more impact in the world. I wanted more joy, wanted more time freedom. I just knew that there had to be easier ways to make money. As much as I love business, and I think I'm probably a born entrepreneur in that way, in that working weekends, like I enjoyed the hustle. I enjoyed the pace. I enjoyed the energy. I loved the creativity. I loved all of the parts of being a business owner. But this model just didn't light me up anymore. It really didn't speak to my soul. I started to get like irritated with my clients, with the staff. I just felt like I'd kind of done all I could in that space. So when I started the business, it was a £10 haircut barbershop. By the time I'd finished with that business, it was a £25 and plus haircut. So I'd really focused on giving an incredible experience as opposed to just more volume. And it's something that I really encourage my clients to do, rather than look for more clients. How do we increase the cost per head? So it's all about that quality, that increasing the experience and the value to your offers. So a lot of what I'm telling you can actually apply to different businesses. But that was, I'd won awards for excellence, and as an independent retailer in those categories, it really did mean a lot. It wasn't an award that I paid for, which a lot of people do. Spoiler alert, a lot of award-winning people in the online space, it's because they've paid for those accolades. Whereas this was one that it was a really rigorous selection process. It was very time consuming. There was so much work that had to go into it. It was also based on the feedback of my staff, of my results, the clients, like so many different things. So it meant a lot when I won it. So I'd also created incredible brand partnerships. It's basically like changing the game of barbering. I was very much an influential part of that industry, which felt really great at the time because it was moving things forward, increasing the standards. It was allowing people to really add their own creativity to the industry. I met some absolute powerhouses and giants. We did stage work. My staff did editorial coverage. Like it was really gratifying for me at the time, but I felt like it had kind of, just come to that natural close. Did I walk away from the business entirely overnight? No, there was a process where I was essentially phased out of the business, where I moved from being the chief of everything officer to instead just having a controlling interest. And then the business was finally sold in its entirety this January. But I knew in my soul that it was the right thing to do, because the thought of, and this is what I wanted to share in this episode today, because these were the conversations that I was having with my client about when is the right time and how do you come to that decision and how do you feel good with that process and how do you know? And I kind of took her on the journey that I took. And for me, if you're currently in a business, it's so hard when it is making money, and on paper you should be grateful, and for anybody else it would be the absolute dream business, but for you it is just not lighting you up anymore. It doesn't excite you. That's when you know that it's time to move on. And I think the good thing for me as a business coach is that I'm very spiritual. So it's all about energy. And this is why when you increase your prices and you ascend to that next level of service, that's amazing, because it's part of your soul's growth to ascend and to, you know, move up, to expand, to move on to whatever the next level of challenge or excitement or opportunity or expansion is for you. But it's also making room for the people that are coming up behind you, that are brand new to the industry, that need to be where you were. So I'm all about creating space, and that's kind of what I saw was that journey for me. It's about me creating space for other people to come in, whether it's in that physical premises that I had because it was such a prime location, or whether it's other barbershops in the high street to thrive and to really then step forward, you know, taking the place of what I'd left behind. That's kind of what, you know, feels good to me. It doesn't feel like saying goodbye. It feels like allowing somebody else, making room for others to come through so that I can move on to that next level of projects, whatever that is for me. So she had, like I said, just looked at all of the goals. What was her soul craving right now? And it was newness. It was a new challenge. It was a new opportunity. She'd found her confidence, found her voice in the industry that she was in, and she wanted to have an opportunity to really see how far she could take that, what that meant for her. And, you know, we've got a fabulous plan in place for the next 6 months. It's really exciting. It's all about building personal branding, stepping into a space as a coach, adding passive income, creating more time freedom. And ultimately, this physical business that she started with was actually going to become a distraction. And it wasn't going to add to anything that she had in her plans for the time that we've got together. And I think that's always really telling as well. It's like, if actually continuing with this business, yes, it may be adding a little bit of money to my bottom line, but if it's overall distracting from or taking up space and keeping me busy and is not going to allow me to actually move into whatever feels like my next level of growth right now, that's when you have to confidently be able to, with gratitude, say thank you for, you know, being part of my journey up to this point, but I'm ready to let this go and to move on to something else. And again, that's something that maybe it could be that your next level of ascension right now is actually a different client, and moving from startups to scale-ups and maybe more established business owners. It could be, you know, you're ready to increase your prices. And again, you're making room for all of the people coming up behind you in the industry. So celebrate that fact. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel like, oh, but I'm not going to be able to help people that need me. That's a load of rubbish. That's a sign of a limiting belief and lack. So if that's coming up for you right now, I strongly recommend that you head straight over to my Millionaire Mindset Bootcamp. I'll put the details in the show note so that you can really work through where that belief is coming from for you. Typically, it's conditioning from our society, from our childhood, and you absolutely know that. If you listen to my podcast, I'm always kind of circling back to, you know, where were these beliefs formed? Why do we as women struggle with our money mindset particularly? So I definitely recommend that you go back and have a look at that or any of those episodes. But I think it's ultimately being honest with yourself. And it's not a case of, but equally, there has to be a moment of self-reflection before you make this decision. So there have been times where I have known clients to walk away from something just when they're about to get to the good bit. And that has actually been self-sabotaging behaviour, because they are scared of what would happen if it actually did work out and if they actually did get to that next level of income. So be mindful of that, like really check in with yourself, because like I say, it is really hard to walk away from something that's working well. But if this is something that comes up for you as a pattern, i.e. when you get to the good bit, like you're so addicted to the hustle and grind of building a business and like triumphing, and because I definitely found this in my life where it's like I was addicted to the underdog and almost learned helplessness aspect of my situation. I continually kept putting myself in situations where I would have to go back to zero and start from scratch. And it was because it was just familiar to me, basically. I am used to being the underdog. I'm used to overcoming adversity. What the hell am I talking about? Adversity. I'm used to doing the things the hard way. And as soon as things felt like they were getting too easy, I almost got rid of them before something bad happened. And that's been reflective in relationships, that's been reflective in money, that's been reflective in like business ventures. And that was a pattern that I definitely had to catch myself in at the moment. But now I'm much more aware of, you know, just having that intention, checking in with myself and saying, right, okay, is it that I have genuinely outgrown this opportunity and that's okay for me to move on and ascend? Or is this actually like an upper limit problem and I'm now self-sabotaging? So I'd love for you to do that work as well. Again, if anybody has read Gay Hendricks, The Big Leap, that will really dive deeper into how your upper limit problem can be presenting itself in your life, i.e., when you are about to get to that next level of success, you suddenly get sick or you do something that takes away the joy from that moment because you're just not comfortable with being in that place. Our bodies are very addictive by nature because it's easy, and anything that our body can put on a rinse and repeat. This is why we have habits. Like that's our body will always try and put as much as it can of our thought processes and bodily functions essentially on autopilot. So if we're going to do something regularly, it becomes addiction because then you don't have to consciously think of it. You're just going to do that thing. That's why habits are so powerful, and why you can do like get yourself to work every day without even being present of how did I even get here? Well, I'm on autopilot and my brain's done that to conserve energy. So equally, how are you acting in, you know, that's why 95% of our thoughts are recycled from the day before. Like, you really have to be vigilant when you're trying to create change in your life, because if you continue to always do what you always did, you're always going to get what you always got. Might need to say that again. My mum used to say this to me all the time, but if you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got. So if you are continuing in the same patterns of behaviour with the same environmental factors, i.e. the same people around you every day, doing the same routines, same habits, same thought patterns, you're going to get the same outcome. But as spiritual beings, we are not meant to be on a rinse and repeat. That is not what we're here to do. It is to grow and to expand and fulfill our potential, to be all we can be, to push our boundaries of what we are comfortable with receiving. And that only comes from, you know, doing something different, essentially. So I don't believe with business that there is any wrong decision. I think once you have trust in yourself, that we are resourceful beings, ladies, we will always find a way. And I'm sure if you were honest with yourself, if you reflected now, there's been loads of absolute like shit hit the fan situations in your life where you have, well, I know you've survived 100% of your worst days. If you're listening to this podcast right now, I absolutely have no doubt that you've probably been through a journey in life and you've overcome lots of adversity. And guess what? You got out the other side of it. So there really isn't any wrong answer when it comes to business, because it's only feedback. There is no failure. It's only feedback. And there, you can always earn more money. There will always be more opportunities. You've got to have trust and faith in yourself that you will always find a way. And I know that to be true for you. If you are a woman listening to this podcast, you have creative feminine energy. You have badass energy and insight. You've got your intuition, which is your superpower. You will absolutely find a way if you really are aligned to what it is that you want. If it's in your heart, you're ready to start, and I truly believe it's meant for you. So even if you walk away from something and it looks on the surface, you know, 6 months down the line, oh, maybe that was the wrong idea. Well, that was your journey, and you can easily either get it back or you can do something else that still feels better. You've got to follow those inspired actions and insights to be where you need to be. But you'll notice that's why most millionaires that have lost their fortunes, they've got it back in half the time, because they've got the learnings. They're not starting from zero. So even if you take the wrong turn and then you end up starting back from scratch. No, hang on. Why do I struggle with this so much? But if you end up back at zero, essentially, that's still not zero, because you're still like plus 100. From even if your bank balance is telling you it's zero, it's not, because you're starting with all of this newfound knowledge and confidence and experiences and, you know, just the learnings and everything else. So don't ever feel like there is any wrong decisions in business. As long as you are being true to yourself, you are listening to what your body, your intuition, what your soul is telling you, you will always find the right path for you, and it will therefore always be compensated. Divine law of compensation. If you're in alignment with what it is that you're selling, with what it is that you are here to do, and you're speaking that truth, you are going to attract the right people that need to hear that message. That's why I don't worry about being perfect. It's not in my nature. It really isn't. But has that ever stopped me making money in any other aspect of business? Hell no. So why would it stop me from making money as a coach? It won't, because results speak for themselves. I make my clients money. Do I do it in perfect ways? Do I do it with signature systems? Do I do it with different step blueprints that if you don't do it this one way, that's it? No, do you know what? I don't. I'm probably the worst business coach in that respect, because what I do is listen to my clients, listen to what they need, listen to what their strengths are, identify what their superpowers are, and then I get them to do more of that. And inevitably that is going to lead to more success. So that's kind of my takeaways from today's conversation. I hope if you are at a crossroads right now and you're not sure which way to go, then you can take away some kind of aha moments from what I've mentioned. And, obviously, again, if you want to chat about this more, come and find me on Instagram at The Femalepreneur Coach. Send me a DM. This is my absolute jam. And I will help figure out what is that next right step for you. But also, I did want to mention today, I've got a free networking event. If you're listening to this in the next couple of weeks, it's still going to be relevant, but it's in August. It's completely free. Obviously, community is such a big part of what I do as a coach, because I truly believe when you bring women together, incredible things happen, and it only amplifies all of the creative solutions that are available to you when you work as a group and as a collective. So I would love for you to head over and register and maybe see you there. But I also have an in-person event coming up as well that I'm also arranging for August, which is going to be absolutely incredible. It's my first in-person event. I'm so excited. It's going to be a real intensive day where we deep dive into your business, into your mindset, really give you all the tools you need to go away and create a blueprint for success for the rest of the year with absolute clarity on what it is that you need to do, but also all the tools and confidence that you need to execute it as well. And hopefully, a fabulous day with beautiful, in an incredible venue. I'm so excited, with amazing women that are all just truly inspirational as well. So if you would love to come and meet me or join us for that as well, then obviously I'd love to extend an invitation to you. So come over and find me on Instagram and let me know that you are interested. But otherwise, I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you soon. Thank you for listening to this episode. It's been amazing to share this time with you, and I feel honoured to be part of your journey. If you've loved what you've heard, had an aha moment, or found value in this episode, then please do like, comment and share. I would love to connect with you on Instagram and Facebook, so come and find me, and I look forward to helping you build your epic life.